Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday, so we're doing another financial education video. If you come back on Wednesdays, that's when we do our portfolio reviews. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Paul Novak and I absolutely love all things related to personal finance. And my goal for this channel is really just to break down a lot of these concepts to help people put their money to work and make their money work for them. As you know, I like to keep my content geared towards beginners, and this video is going to be no different today. Today we're actually going to talk about diversification. And, I think a lot of people probably know what the word diversify means, but we're going to talk about it specifically as it relates to investing and why diversification is so important. And if you find these videos helpful, I'd always encourage you to smash that like button and subscribe. I state it every video. Comments are always welcome. If you've got questions or topic recommendations, please post them down below. We respond back to all comments. And then something I'll place a link to in the description and put up here on the screen is our Facebook group called Saving and Investing for Beginners. We haven't had it up for that long, but it is growing relatively quick, which is awesome. And really, we just did this as a way to build a community for like-minded people that are interested in investing, maybe that have questions or would like to learn from others. It's a great beginners group just so we can all learn together. And also, if you're interested in starting to save or invest, I've got a ton of different links down below. With those links are promo codes for free cash. You can also get free stocks. So if that's something that you're interested in, check that out. And with that being said, let's get into it. Now, you better make sure that portfolio of yours is diversified. Okay, neat. But what does that even mean? I think a lot of us get the basic premise of diversification, but when it comes to diversifying with investing, it means instead of putting all your money into one stock, we're going to spread it out amongst a bunch of different stocks. And the main reason why people do this is just to mitigate risk. So I think when you're investing, it's much more important to protect that investment so the money can continue to grow safely than to put it all in one area trying to get rich quick and potentially become poor quick. Diversification really just helps you protect your investment. And for me, because I'm not always the brightest guy, I like to see things with pictures. I'm going to show you how that diversification works by showing a couple illustrations. Let's check them out. Alright, so to keep this simple, because I like simple, we're going to assume that we invested $1,000 and we did not diversify. We put that $1,000 into one stock. On the bright side, let's just assume that that stock appreciates and it goes up 50% in value. That is awesome, because that $1,000 that we just invested turned into $1,500. We made $500. But nobody knows exactly what the stock market's going to do. And let's assume that that same stock lost 50%, right? That's not good news. So now out of that $1,000, we only have $500 left. So when I say that diversification reduces risk, this shows that if you have all your money in one stock, you really open yourself up to huge swings in the market. Right, so now let's look at it from a diversified perspective. Let's assume that you invested that same $1,000 into stocks, but this time we bought 10 stocks instead of one. And we're going to play through the exact same scenario I just showed. So let's say the first scenario, that stock that we bought still goes up 50% in value, which is awesome. Because we have 10 stocks, we actually put $100 in each stock instead of having one at $1,000. So that 50% appreciation, it really only means we made $50. And let's assume for the other 9 that we got average returns in the market of 10%. So all of those went up $10. When we look at our portfolio now, our total portfolio value is $1,140, which is awesome. We ended up making $140, which you'd expect if our stocks are all going up. Now let's look at the inverse of that. So here, same scenario, right? We've got our 10 stocks, we've got that $1,000 invested, but this time, that same stock that we bought, that we picked, it didn't do so well, it lost 50% of its value. So that $100 that we invested dropped all the way down to $50. But again, we've got 9 other stocks to protect us. So let's assume that they had average returns. And again, they all return 10%, just to make the example simple. Our portfolio, even though we lost 50% on that one stock, is worth $1,040. So even though we lost a significant amount in that one stock, we still ended up making $40, which goes to show you how this can protect your investment, right? So even though you've got some stocks going up and down, when you diversify into a bunch, odds are the bulk of them are going to be moving in the right direction, which helps protect you. Even when you've got stocks that lose money, this portfolio is still coming out ahead and is still profitable. All right, so now let's talk about diversification. There are many different ways to diversify your portfolio. Some people, when talking about diversification, talk about what size of stocks you have in your portfolio. So you can buy large cap, you can buy mid cap, you can buy small cap. And really, that's just a fancy way for saying have some large companies, medium-sized companies, and small companies in your portfolio. Another way that I've heard diversification talked about is growth versus value, right? And people will say, well, what's the difference? How do you know if a company is growth or value? And growth is normally going to be smaller, up-and-coming companies that really tend to grow in share price. When it comes to value, generally it's larger, more stable companies that pay dividends. And the other thing that I want to talk about when it comes to diversification is all the different business sectors, right? There's 11 different business sectors you can invest in. I'm not going to go through them all, but I will place them up here next to me on the screen. But making sure that you've got stocks in all those different portfolios is also another way to make sure that you're diversified. And now what I'm going to do is show you here on the screen a really easy way to find out what sector your stock is in if there's one that you want to buy. All right, so now that we're at Morningstar, right, and this is a website I use, it's got a lot of great free information. Sometimes when you go to it, it's going to prompt you for premium if you want to buy that. Know that that's something that you don't have to do. But I go on here to do a lot of research. So what I'm going to do, just to show you where you can find those sectors, is I'm going to look up Apple, right? That's a pretty popular company. So I'm going to search Apple. I'm just putting their ticker in up here. Clicking on find. And now when I click here on the company, right on this quote, it's right on as soon as you search for a company, you can scroll down and towards the bottom here, it is going to let you know what sector it's in. So if you're trying to research a specific stock and you want to know what sector it's in, I find that Morningstar is the easiest way to do it. So just search for your stock, scroll down to the bottom on the home page of that stock, and it'll put the sector in there. And when we're talking diversification, right, it's not just about throwing money into a ton of different stocks and going, poof, I'm magically diversified. Obviously, if you do own a bunch, you probably have some diversification built in there. But, a question I get asked all the time is, hey, Paul, I own 30 stocks. Am I diversified? Well, I say that depends, right? What are your 30 stocks in? If you've got 30 stocks that are all in, let's say, the tech sector, you are diversified because you own more than one stock, but probably not as much as you should be, right? So you want to look at not just having a bunch of different stocks, but also where are they located? And for me, somebody once gave me 3 rules of thumb to know that you're diversified, and I really liked them. One was you don't want 25% of your portfolio in any one sector. The second rule is you do not want more than 10% of your portfolio in any one stock. The third rule was that you want to have at least 30 different stocks. Now, while I would consider that a very good diversified portfolio, who in their right mind has the time to research 30 different stocks, 11 different sectors? To me, that is absolutely crazy, right? I don't know about you, but I'm making YouTube videos. I have a full-time job. I go to school. I'm a family of 4, and somewhere in there, I'd kind of like to find some time to do the things in life I like to do. So for me, there is no way that I could do enough research to keep up with all of those concepts. So then when I tell that to people, they're like, okay, great. You just told me how to make a diversified portfolio, but now you're saying that there's no time to research it? What the heck am I gonna do? Now come on, you've been watching my videos for long enough to know what the heck it is that we're gonna do. And if not, you need to watch more of my videos. So if you didn't already know, it's gonna be index funds, right? I totally am a huge fan of index funds because it is the easiest way to diversify your portfolio. And I'll place a video link here right up above me to explain more about what an index fund is, but they are extremely low cost, and like I said, they're gonna get you instant diversification. My 2 favorites, which I'll put up on the screen next to me here, are VOO, and that tracks the S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies in the US. So think about it, you're buying one fund that's putting you in 500 different companies. I think you can see how that helps with diversification. And the second one is VTI, which is even more diversified. It tracks the entire stock market, right? All the companies. So you really can't get much more diversified than that. And what I like about these funds is really for beginning investors, even experienced investors alike, you can literally set it and forget it. You can buy that fund and the rest will take care of itself. And I don't just give that as advice on here for people. If you were to check out my portfolio reviews, which like I said, I do every Wednesday, I'll place a link to my latest one here. Over 75% of my entire portfolio is made up with those 2 index funds, VOO and VTI. So again, it's not just advice I'm giving, it's also what I do. And the last thing that I want to go over is why you might not want to diversify. So I am recommending diversification to probably 95% of the investors out there. I really think that that's the way to go. But if you go back to that example I shared in the beginning, right, by diversifying, yes, even when our share price of stock went down, we still ended up making money. In that first example, we were able to turn that $1,000 into $1,500. Once we diversified, we only made $140 instead of $500 profit. So while diversification is going to protect your investment, it's also going to stunt your growth, right? And I think of, some of the wealthiest people out there in the world were able to achieve their wealth, and they didn't do it through diversification, right? So if you think of, I'll pick on Bill Gates, right? He stuck all of his money and equity, time, everything into trying to build up Microsoft. Now, there's a lot of risk associated with that, but once he did it and was successful, the amount of wealth he was able to generate was far greater than if he would have invested in 100 different tech companies and tried to put his money in there. And for me, to be honest, I would say when it comes to investing, the greatest way that I have been able to reduce my risk, along with diversification, I would say the second greatest thing is knowledge, right? So if you can, be an insider and do a lot of research into a specific company, you know it inside and out, you know the leadership team, you know the financial statements, you understand the customer base, you understand the product segments they have, it might not be a bad idea then, if you find a solid company, to stick a fair amount of money in there. And again, I would encourage for 90 to 95% of the people out there, concentrating your money into one company is risky, but I think the one thing you can do to reduce that risk is knowledge. And for me, while I said a big chunk of my portfolio is index funds, there is 10% of my money that I put in the market every single week that I put into high-risk growth companies. And originally when I was doing that, I was in Plug Power, I was in Ballard Power Systems, Laser Technologies, Tesla, Neo, Grow Generations, and I had that money kind of spread out all over the place, and I've actually decided to eliminate that diversification. I have sold out of almost all of those companies, and I've concentrated all of that money into Plug Power. So in doing that, I am increasing my risk, but with eliminating the diversification, I'm really trying with that one holding to hit a home run, knowing that I could also lose a fair share of money. But again, I'm protected with that stable base of index funds. So I've done a ton of research on the company. Last semester, actually, for school, every single week I had to write a new paper and find out new information about the company. And because I'm doing so much research and believe in what they offer, like I said, I'm trying to hit a home run on that one investment. But even somebody like me that is trying to do a lot of research, I still wouldn't do that unless I had a stable base to fall back on that was diversified. So for the most part, I follow diversification, but there are some times where I do try to target and concentrate my funds just to increase my growth potential. And hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully it'll help you get diversified and understand what the heck that term means. As I always state, if you find these videos helpful, smash that like button and subscribe. Comments are always welcome. I've got my links posted below if you want to start saving and investing. I hope to see you back here on Wednesday to check out the portfolio review. If not, for sure on Saturday for another financial education video. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Thanks for watching.